Tom Brady, who's sick.
Goat.
Yeah, so we were talking about it, that in some ways his life's not that great because he has a wife that is like super rich, right?
Yeah, and kind of on par with him.
Kind of on par and probably demanding and probably... and then, so on top of that, she's been doing all these interviews and stuff, and he's been saying this also on shows and stuff, that she's a witch.
Yeah.
And she's been putting spells to help him win the football games, and low-key like taking credit for all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the witch forums where...
You know what's so funny is she's like, yeah, I'm a witch. It's like all my spells is why we won. And then Bill Belichick's like, yeah, I cheat. I cheat. That's why we win. Because I literally cheat at football. And she's like, I'm a witch. And
what does he do? Is that deflating the footballs and all that stuff?
Oh, dude, deflating the footballs, filming the opposing team's practices. Like, literally, Bill Belichick's like, yeah, I cheat.
Yeah.
Like, in the background, he's all like, yeah, I cheat. And she's like, I can do all these spells. And he's like...
The Ben Johnson.
No, he's like, I cheat.
It's the Ben Johnson ad for the Cheetah Company. We probably mentioned it before, but there's this guy, Ben Johnson, that got his...
More importantly, there's a guy named Frank D'Angelo.
Yeah, we've talked too much about D'Angelo, but basically he had a company called Cheetah, and it was an energy drink. And then he got his medals taken away for cheating because he was doping.
He was like the first guy to get popped for cheating at the Olympics.
He was a big one. He was 100-meter dash. He's the big star, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, so they took all his money away. He didn't get to be his career as a motivational speaker, all that sort of stuff. And then this scumbag who has a Cheetah energy drink got him to do commercials where he goes, do you cheetah? I cheetah. And they had him running. And they paid him probably like 10 grand or something like that.
That wasn't like a big payday.
Well, they need to get Bill Belichick to do Cheetah sponsorships.
Yeah, that will be costly. That's points in like the whole empire.
Sure.
If you want Belichick.
Yeah, Belichick 50% in the Cheetah enterprise.
But I just love that she thinks she has the witchcraft.
Well, the funny part is when you find out what she does is she's got him. This is how I know he's a little whipped because, okay, if your wife was like a witch, and that's one thing where she goes, okay, and the thing she says she does, she's like, she has these stones and she does all these, kind of rituals or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then you come home and you won the Super Bowl, and she's like, we won the Super Bowl.
Of course.
And to the point where you're going and doing press and being like, I obviously take only half credit. My wife's witchcraft is pretty big, huge part of this.
Chicks are just insane. Like I'm doing a joke about it, but like Julia Fox, and then they interviewed her. Julia Fox, like, she was dating Kanye, and she was in Uncut Gems, and then she goes like, I was like the writer's muse. Like she goes like, I was his muse, of Benny Safdie or whatever, who wrote Uncut Gems. You're like, no, he just like tricked you into having sex with him. Like you didn't help write Uncut Gems, you psycho.
You're right. No, it's basically the whole Muse thing is there's some truth to the fact that a new piece of ass that's really hot gets you a little jazzed up for a couple of weeks.
Maybe, but you're like, you're not helping.
No, I know.
Like, you're not like co-writer unless you just like, trick them into that's your trickery. But like,
or there's some kind of sad boy types that he, breaks up with his, muse, and he's just like bummed out. So he's like, I can't even work. I'm sitting in bed all day. And then she gets back together with her, and he's like writing, and he's like, see, you need me to write.
Yeah, you need me, but it's not a muse. You're like, he's just fucked up.
No, the whole concept of a muse was a pretty good scam from both ends, but it was a good scam from the guys being like, listen, my whole
he goes, baby, I need a muse. And then she goes, oh, I'd love to fuck an artist. Like,
yeah, and he kind of says like, listen, that time we smashed last time, I wrote some of the best stuff I ever written, so if you want to come over and do it again,
maybe there could be an Uncut Gems part 2.
Yeah. People are saying we need to Uncut Gems part 2. He just screenshots and sends it to her.
He goes, I can't do it without you.
That is a good way to sort of like rekindle an old one, where you just send her a message with a screenshot of people being like, Uncut Gems was the best, and you just message back, sequel?
Yeah.
And she's like, you should make a sequel. He goes, yeah, well, you know how the system.
Plus, I feel like a muse is specifically temporary.
Of course.
Like nobody's muse is like, yeah, my wife is my muse.
Well, that's what he's doing.
It's like my wife's my muse when she leaves me alone. Maybe.
Well, Brady told the reporters that he believes the Patriots over the Rams was derived from the work the couple does spiritually.
Cheating!
Yeah, and then... The Muse is definitely the second boobs, by the way.
Yeah. No, I guess the Rams was not Belichick. That was.
But you're right, though. If he was with Ghislaine, like the Muse is with Adam Levine, it's like the second girl's the Muse.
Right, of course. Yeah, the wife is the thing that prevents him from making any good new shit. The muse is like the balances it out.
I guess the wife is the muse in the sense that like she's around the house doing witchcraft. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to do 3 a day.
Well, it's the avoiding the wife and all her
the muse.
bullshit for self-improvement.
Yeah, you go, I couldn't do it without my wife. I was doing 3 times a day because if my wife wasn't there, I wouldn't be at the gym so much.
Yeah.
Well, people said that you're the first guy at practice, last guy to leave.
Yeah. That's like so funny too when like you hear women be like, yeah, my husband, he's like a workaholic. And you're like, no, he's not. He's not a workaholic.
He is now.
It's like if you were a workaholic, he'd be a homeaholic.
That's so funny. Yeah. So the reason he's working so hard at practice, he's just like outworking the next guy because every time he comes home, she's surrounded in spells. She goes, get in here. I need you. I need to do our prayers and stuff like that.
All the doors are now just like those beads.
We got to pray to the Dark Lord. He goes, honestly, think I could probably use another fucking run.
I'm going to go see if I can beat my time.
Yeah. So I think there's something about that. I get these little special stones, healing stones, protective stones, and she has me wear them on a necklace. That's got to be, if you have a buddy that his wife's a witch and he shows up with a necklace with this new stones, how do you not get like trashed by the boys with that one?
I think that's
Dude, if
you're Tom Brady.
If you had that where like your chick was like, hey, I brought you this like thing that helps you podcast better, and you've got this necklace on and you show up and you'd have to lie to me. Like there's no way you could be like, my girlfriend gave it to me. It makes me funnier on podcasts. There's no way you could admit that.
No.
Well, he has to show up to it.
No, I'd say like, yeah, I ate too much mushrooms at a Fish concert and woke up with this around my neck.
Why don't you take it off?
Cool.
I want to, but
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, you'd have to take credit for it yourself.
Yeah.
So he's out there giving her credit because if he goes and probably does his radio interviews and he's like, yeah, it was just worked hard, and she comes home, she goes, you worked hard. You worked hard, huh?
Yeah.
What is this cauldron doing?
Think these crystals are going to mine themselves?
Yeah, look at this. We got steam coming out everywhere. Look at the walls. You think those pentagrams are going to draw themselves?
Do you think like there's some kid in like a mine somewhere in Africa who's also taking credit for Tom Brady's wins? He goes, we're the ones who mined the stones.
Yeah, we all did. We did this
Giselle
together,
bought.
man. This was
just like the whole supply chain.
There's a whole team of people working behind. Yeah, he's getting sacked, and then there's just like she's just sitting at home aggressively rubbing stones, being like, come on.
Do you think there's a potential where she's just kind of kicking around doing nothing and bugging him with the stones, and she's like, maybe I should start like a stone business, and then he's like, I'll be the, like I'll essentially.
You think this might be the first
the
part of a
testimonial.
2-part pronged plan?
Well, he goes like, just do something. Like just be busy or whatever. So then he'll be like, sure, I'll say that the Stones won the Super Bowl to get your business started.
He's saying to her, like, you should do something with this whole stone thing.
Yeah, and I'll say that the Stones helped me win the Super Bowl to give you like the endorsement
Tried
of
and
Tom
tested.
Brady.
Tom Brady's.
It's like, you know how much that's worth? $20 million.
You're right, though. If you were watching an infomercial and you had Tom Brady come out and being like, I wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without this 9/11
Dude,
coin.
you know how many yeah, exactly. You know how many dudes are probably like, I'll buy some of these fucking stones. Are you kidding? Tom
Super
Brady
Bowl
stones?
winning stones. So it is possible. Maybe there's a couple possibilities.
Possibilities.
I
Yeah.
think the most likely scenario is that she's super into this. He's kind of whipped. He's had to admit to her that that the Stones helped.
Yeah.
And then now she's like, well, you told me that they helped. Why are you not publicly?
Is there a chance that their neighbor is Gwyneth Paltrow?
Oh, that's another.
And that's
thing.
what it is. He goes, no more hanging out at the Paltrow household. This is bullshit. He's like, I've working my whole life, and now we moved next door to her, and all of a sudden these crystals are taking credit from.
I come home, my supermodel wife is wearing a fucking cape and cauldron. Yeah, so that's possible too.